Hello. Today I am doing the first part of Edgar Casey. And I forgot to put my microphone on. I hope that doesn't affect the sound too bad, but there we go. I'll put that on because I don't have the loudest voice. Okay, so we're talking about Edgar Casey, and I am going to just show you real quickly his natal chart. Let's see if I can get that all on the camera. And I've said it before, I haven't been on as much because I got put in hospice last week. So, for me, there's a big adjustment going on, what and how I want to deal with all this. And I did a video a couple days ago about it. And I want to say that I don't want anyone to think that because you hear something that sounds like it's devastating and it's not something that's recoverable, that doesn't mean it's so. I kind of have an opinion that sometimes when we get the worst news, that's the best news we could have ever gotten, because that's the time where we start buckling down and getting ourselves figured out. And although I have an uncomfortable relationship with my health at this time, I have the opportunity to do some really good growth. So one can take it any way they want. I feel like I'm gonna grow from this, and I'm gonna take advantage of that opportunity. So I just want to say all that. But today, who I'm interested in talking about, and we are going to do a numerology. And I want to say it's taking us a bit because Pearl is a very gifted psychic. She sees things so very clearly. But being in front of a camera and being so vulnerable and gifted is not an easy transition. And so I want her to be comfortable when she comes forward. I want her to feel safe and not at all concerned with her abilities. So with that, I'm just going to say I'm going to just start part one of the Edgar Casey. And he was born March 18th, 1877 at 3:20 a.m. Central Standard Time in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Okay, and I use Vedic equals sidereal. It is a hybrid. I choose to use this particular method as I think that, no one method. I kind of am there. I've had my chart read in Western, and it very much coincides with the Vedic. So, I just don't think anybody needs to get too concerned about it. So, but anyway, who is Edgar Casey? Why am I interested? Well, this is a gentleman who had medical issues at a very young age, and discovered that he could dream about it and come forward with some very interesting solutions. And I'm going to talk about why that might be. He has 6 points in fire, so he is fire dominant, and he was also air dominant. He had 6 points in air. So his thoughts and his inspirations, his passion, his fiery thoughts and inspirations, his knowing, led to him being a sleeping prophet. And so basically he starts out that he has a practical mind. His rising is Capricorn, and when you consider Capricorn as the 10th house ruled by Saturn, it is the highest and most organized house. Thus, we consider the 10th house to be one of government or, high corporate organizations, the highest impact in our lives. Okay, and he has Sun square Jupiter. His Sun is his ego. And that's squaring how he responds. Okay, so how he sees himself and how he expanded. It was difficult for him. So he needed to find ways to expand his energy, but needed to do so in a trance-like state. He had Sun sextile Pluto. He found it easy to work with sensitive or otherworldly or information from the veil without breaking a sweat. You know, a lot of people, the veil is a very frightening thing. He had moon in Aries, and I could spend a lot of time on moon in Aries. It is a marker I have, good, bad, or otherwise. I have it. My mother wasn't emotionally available to me. And I think that a moon in Aries is just going to be that. It's going to be someone who had to kind of reconfigure in some ways that you wouldn't anticipate very early on in their energetic life. And I will go over that in his chart because there is some very obvious early markers that he had to be creative in how he went about things. He has moon in Mercury, how he listens and thinks from that perspective. He can imagine anything pertaining to the psyche and he is able to draw others in, but flees from crowds. And again, when I'm reading, I'll kind of go over that because there's some things that very much like my chart I can so relate to. He has Mercury conjunct Venus, love of the cerebral mind. He things that stimulated his mind. That was his wheelhouse. He had Mercury, oh, that was the, okay, we did that one. We have Mercury conjunct Saturn. Words did not come easy to him. Thus, he was a sleeping channel, he had to speak from a channeled state. That is what helped unlock that gift. He had Venus square Saturn. He was very much about the simple things in life. Mars in Sagittarius believed fervently in the unseen and was willing to voice that. And in this, he has, okay, from the unseen, he has a, I'm just going to kind of go over with a little more authority his chart because it is so interesting. He only has 2 squares in his entire chart. He has no oppositions in that sense, in a direct natal chart sense. I mean, we all have oppositions whether we know it or not. But he has 2 squares, okay? His first square is from the 12th house of the unseen, and that's got Jupiter in Sagittarius, that fervent belief. Squares down to the 3rd house of information where he has this massive stellium. It has his north node conjunct Mercury, conjunct Saturn, conjunct Venus, conjunct his sun between Aquarius and Pisces. And he was all about providing us information in his sleep. This chart says that the way he provided information was for the collective, and that he himself saw himself as this humanitarian energy. But in general, and we will go over this in our numerology reading, a lot of his energy was innate, kind of a high executive mind. So fascinating. And his other square is Pluto square, Pluto 5th house in Taurus. So the objects or the things in life, okay, the drama of life, the play of life ruled by Sun, squares up to insights and thoughts ruled by Pluto, but is Uranus in Leo. So he would get these insights in this playful way from the house of drama that would provide people information about their health, which I just find fascinating. I mean, because right now I'm, in a way, I'm so ill. My body's so ill. And, to think that this guy could easily come up with the information, it's fascinating to me. But at any rate, I am going to go ahead and put the GoPro down, and I am going to select 12 cards to do the Periscope for Edgar Casey. Let's see if I can get all that in the camera. Okay. And then y'all might have to just trust me a little bit. I'm getting them in the camera, but it's not going to be perfect. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and select 12 cards, and we're going to just do his horoscope. It's fascinating to me, Edgar Casey. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the information in. We just want to know today, Spirit, about Edgar Casey. Please tell us about Edgar Casey and help us understand his energy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And as I'm doing, not learning, but doing this, I mean, I'm always learning new methods because I think it's important to always stay open to new information. But as I'm doing this, I'm starting to I'm closing my eyes, I'm letting Spirit guide my hand, and a card will feel right to me. So, I can't really say why it's developing the way it is, but, I'm grateful. Let Spirit decide, and I'll just flow. So there's 1, and we're using Dreams of Gaia Tarot. 2, and partially because it's so cerebral what he did for us. Okay, so it starts off as a foundation as a 9, and I am going to, and that is a 9 of air. Okay, and let's see here. I'm going to get myself set up here. So let's let's see, I don't think you can see that. Okay, so we've got a 9 of air. This isn't going to be perfect for the next few days. I realize until I get to Hawaii, I'm just going to kind of fly by the seat of my pants on these readings right now. So I apologize. Okay, and here is the chart that I am using that you're not going to see as well this time. But I'm going to go ahead and put it down, and I'm going to use it. So as a foundation, and we have a 9 of air, and I'm going to just give you the brief of 9 of air, because the Gaia book is just, you're open to possibilities, okay? And your possibilities are infinite. Know yourself and know the universe, and that has been coming up a lot lately. What dwells within you, nurture that. Okay, all that exists was first imagined. Did you ever play house and see yourself as someone that could manage and did manage and feel very fulfilled by the knowledge of playing house, that you had something to offer? I think that this card asks you to allow that innocent imagination to reflourish, okay? And so in this, he starts out, and this would be Edgar Casey. He starts out in the first house of soul. He was to be seen and known, and it was an aggressive energy, okay? Mars in Sagittarius, ruled by Mars in the first house. And what he gets is the 7 of Cups. In some ways, he was illusion and delusion in the way he went about things. It would be, in my opinion, that much like myself, where I want to be of service, he was of service, but he didn't know where to charge, how to charge, when to charge. He didn't understand his own personal power, and so in some ways he struggled, and he functioned in illusion and delusion, and that would be in poverty consciousness, but that would really be second house energy, where he had a cool and clear appraisal of things. He was practical, and that is the second house in Capricorn, and also partially by Aquarius. That that is ruled by by Venus. Excuse me. He gets shadow work. Okay, for him, the five of Earth. For him, the cool, clear, practical, and appraisals of life were shadow work, and he had his North Node in Aquarius. He was meant to come and do this work for us, with us. He was meant to share with us or lay this groundwork. In some ways, he's kind of one of our fathers, although I more or less feel that we have many instances where we have these great prophets, and so we could continue to go backwards and find all sorts of information as we look backwards. Okay, in the third house of information, ruled by Mercury, he gets the King of Water, or King of Cups. He was this loving energy wanting to provide this information, and he has his Mercury conjunct North Node, conjunct Saturn, conjunct Venus, conjunct his Sun. And it starts out, his North Node, Mercury, Saturn, and Venus, all in Aquarius, that altruism, that desire to be the humanitarian, and Sun in Pisces, providing us this information from the unseen. And that is a square from his 12th house of the unseen to his Sun, where he then, in his sleep, tells the stories from the house of the unseen about your health. In the 4th house of roots, he idealized, ruled by the moon. He idealizes action. He's psychological. He's personal, from the house of roots, ruled by moon. He has Neptune in Aries. Okay, he dreams. Now, and Aries is so, in some ways, so innocent and so sweet. And he dreams from such an innocent place in the house of roots. And he gets union. He was looking to bring us together. Now, what is beautiful about an Aries moon is they are going to be so idealized about love. They take love in such gentle and simple terms, like an infant. They believe it's theirs to have and theirs to hold. And so, in that sense, an Aries moon is a beautiful thing. But let's talk a little bit, because the 5th house, the Aries moon, he had Aries moon in Taurus, or moon in Aries, in the 5th house, where it is ruled by the Sun. So at all times, he felt kind of exposed and needed to kind of pull back, and he needed to keep his conversation in a way that he could keep it. He was sensitive, he was dramatic, and he was somewhat past possibilities. He didn't waste words in deep conversations. He was a curious communicator, okay? The way he communicated the drama of life was from his sleep. And he gets the 8 of fire, passion. He did it from a passionate place, from a connected place, from his knowing place. Remember, he's fire dominant. He was fire and thoughts. And so he wrote the play of your pain in his sleep and the solution. Okay? In the 6th house of career, health, and analytics, okay, that was in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. Okay, he gets perception, of course. That's what he did for us. He provided us information about the unseen, about your health, about as a career. But there was one problem with Edgar Casey in that sense. He did so from a poverty consciousness point of view. He didn't feel comfortable charging. And in a psychic, from a psychic perspective, that is something psychics do need to overcome. We all suffer from this because we feel, in some ways, those of us who've been given this gift, it's a gift, and how can I charge something that was given to me freely? Well, you do have to live, and you do have to survive. So, he needed to live and survive, and he didn't necessarily always keep that in mind. And I am going to do some videos on poverty consciousness. Myself and Pearl have been working a lot around this particular subject. So in his 7th house, he has that is a partnerships, it ruled by Venus, connections, communications, okay? That is in Cancer, and he had the Queen of Fire. He had a very well-developed sense of passion and was willing to come out and speak his truth with a fiery passion to support another, okay? And he had a lot of energy in his chart. I mean, there's a lot of 8 energy. Well, you think about that. He was in partnership after partnership after partnership after partnership. Just let that sink in. Providing people information. In the 8th house, he has Uranus and Leo. He basically, it ruled by Pluto in the house of sex, death, and rock and roll. He'd have these insights, these thoughts that would draw him down to earth and help someone understand their health. Okay? And again, remember that moon in the 5th house and in Leo, okay? It all connects up. That is that square again. He gets the 9 of Earth. He is the humanitarian, bringing forward this information about some process in your life that was designed to assist you in healing from the house of sex, death, and rock and roll. And, a beautiful gift. So he, in other words, he was a speaker from the veil. He could come out and he could speak these flashes of information. Uranus in Leo in dramatic ways, okay? In the 9th house, foreign, higher education, he was emotive. He had pride. Leo, okay? He was warm, and that's ruled by Jupiter. He was the king of Earth in that sense. He came. He connected. He heard the story, and he retold it when required or asked. This was a part of the gift that Edgar Casey brought to us, the people. And what a beautiful gift. In the 10th house, the highest house, analytical, high-focused, ruled by Saturn. In Libra, he was fair. So fair he wasn't fair to himself. He got the 10 of Waters. He was all about the collective. He was all about providing us this sensitive way forward. And, at this point in time, I'm beginning to wonder, we spent a lot of time over the course of history educating ourselves in these tangible and physical ways, but how much time did we spend connecting ourselves in the higher sense and for the higher purpose of understanding collectively what we need to know? And Edgar Casey is, in that sense, our roadmap of what we need to know. Okay, in our 11th house, Edgar Casey gets the 6 of fire, and where his passion, the conflicts, the sharing of information, the knowing, all comes together in the house of occult, secret groups, ruled by Uranus. He gets this 6 of fire, this passionate truth. And I am just going to briefly remind myself that card, because that one there, that one has a little more meaning than, yeah, know the facts. Let go of bias. curious, be open-minded. Communication and diplomacy is required. Resolution is needed. All of this was true for him, and he had a hard time grasping that. And so for those of us who are psychics and knowing and different things, right now we do need to kind of tune in and grow from each other at this time, because we do offer this creative service that can go in multiple directions and is a very helpful service to all. So be mindful of that. And then his final card, his in the house of the 12th house of the unseen, expanding unseen, the counselor, how he provided to us through sleeping. He has the 8 of air. His thoughts were what basically provided us this energy of understanding and knowing, and what a beautiful soul Edgar Casey was. What a beautiful energy he is and was. And remember, our foundation is this humanitarian, this basically he came in and he provided us this way forward, and he was like a mother to us. He provided us this nurturing, loving energy that assisted us in understanding things that were beyond our understanding. And with that, I'm going to put this camera up, and I apologize for the funny camera work that I do, but please do hit the like, share, and subscribe, and do join myself and Pearl Rowland over on www.twiggy, where we provide astrology services and tarot services, reports and numerology. Just go look around and see what fits for you. And I strongly recommend, at this time, if you're feeling like this time, this stellium we're in, this energy we're in is something you don't fully understand, go see what might work for you to understand yourself. I have from archetype reports to personal readings to personal natal chart readings. I have all kinds of different things, and I'm going to be adding things because I know that there's a lot of gaps in what I have to offer and what I've actually got listed and what's possible on the site. So please do hit the like, share, and subscribe, and join us, grow with us. This is going to kind of be more where I'm going to go. I'm going to go blend sort of some ancient history with current understanding, and how does it all kind of come together. And I do believe that I'm going to be getting into myself some intuitive medical. It's an area I have fought deeply spiritually, because it scares me quite a bit because it's so sensitive. But I know that is an area Spirit is in fact kind of bringing me to. So with that, I thank you for joining me here today.